time for another adventure in Tunisia.
It's good to chill around the pool in the hotel, but I wanted to see more from the country. There's a rich history going back to the Roman times and even earlier, so I took a one-day excursion, an organized one with a bus, and I'll visit with the group several renowned landmarks today, both traditional and historical. And as you probably could guess, the first one is
Carthage, the old Carthage.
the city we all have heard of from the history and films. I always thought about Carthage as the Phoenician city destroyed once and for all by ancient Rome after the Punic Wars in 2nd century before Christ, while it appears that a century later Julius Caesar refounded it and the Roman Carthage was rebuilt by the Romans, although a bit after the death of Caesar. So here lays the remains from these two Carthage. Unfortunately, this second Roman Carthage was sacked by the Vandals in the 5th century AD. I never knew these Germanic tribes had reached these lands, and even made it the capital of a Vandal kingdom that lasted for about a century.
And that is all what was left from the old Carthage, the mighty Carthage. The ruins right here are from the first Carthage, while the walls right there are from the second Carthage built by the Romans, while these ones were built by the Phoenicians. That always makes me think about the old ages and the passing of time. The once mighty city that vanished, and there's not much left of it.
But here's even more.
And this is the statue of the French King Ludwig IX, who led the last crusade here and died here in Carthage.
After his death in 13th century, the remains of the French king had been buried here and later taken solemnly to France, where he was declared a saint. But the lid of his sarcophagus is still here. There's plenty of pieces of columns and statues. There's also a museum which unfortunately is closed today, but I doubt I would have the time to visit it anyway. Before moving to the second landmark I'll visit today, I had the opportunity to enjoy once again the stunning view over parts of Tunis and the sea.
So that was Carthage, and now I'm going to the next location. And the next destination, the next landmark, is the baths, the Roman baths built in Carthage, Antonia Pier.
When you first step in, you immediately notice how huge they are. These weren't just ordinary baths. They were once the largest in Africa and among the biggest in the entire Roman Empire. It's hard to imagine now, but this complex stretched across an enormous area with hot rooms, cold rooms, swimming pools and underground chambers where slaves kept the fire burning to heat the water. And the water was brought here through an aqueduct from a freshwater lake 70 kilometers away. The columns that still stand give you just a glimpse of the scale. Some were towering over 15 meters high. Walking among the ruins, I can picture in my mind the Romans gathering here not only to wash but to socialize, to do business, or simply to enjoy the views of the sea. And that's something that hasn't changed. Even today, the location offers a beautiful panorama over the Mediterranean. It's a place where history and scenery meet perfectly. It's time to change the location again, which appears to be just 10 minutes of drive from the Roman baths. And getting off the bus, it's like moving from the Roman past into a much more artistic atmosphere.
Next landmark is Sidi Bou Said. It's a great touristic spot, obviously, because it's full of people all around. And it's even difficult to shoot.
Ça va? Vous êtes en vacances avec papa et maman? Après retour, vous passez nous voir ici. D'accord?
The first thing you notice here is the color, the bright whitewashed houses, the deep blue doors and windows, and all these flowers spilling over the walls. It almost feels like walking inside a painting. Regardless of the crowd, I managed to enter in an old 19th century house which is turned into a museum. The idea of this is to showcase the traditional way of living of the people living here in the 19th century.
And this is a traditional Andalusian house, which was built by the Arabs in Spain, which came here later, and that is the interior court. And this is the panorama over Tunis, the city, the capital of Tunisia, from the roof of this Andalusian house.
And back to the town. Sidi Bou Said became famous in the early 20th century when French and Tunisian artists and writers settled here. They were inspired by the light, the views and, of course, the charm of the narrow, cobbled streets. Even today, the whole district has a very bohemian feel. As I wandered around, I passed cozy cafes, craft shops and balconies that opened up to sweeping views of the sea. There's a sense of calm here, but also of creativity. You can see why it's been compared to places like the Parisian art district, Montmartre, and in the same time, the Greek islands like Santorini. And again, the views from the Cape of Sidi Bou Said over the sea is stunning. I could stay here for days to wander these streets for hours, and I doubt I'll get bored.
I don't know about you, but I think that this place was amazing. Sidi Bou Said. But it's already time to leave it for the next location.
Once in the bus, this time I'm entering deeper in the capital of Tunisia. The buildings become bigger and the streets livelier. The traffic also becomes greater. But I'll let you know where I'm going just in a minute.
Going to the next destination, but to get there I have to walk along the main street, the main boulevard of the Tunis, the capital.
Our guide said that this boulevard, Avenue Habib Bourguiba, continuing onto Avenue de France, is the most luxurious boulevard of Tunis. You can find here all the worldly renowned fashion brands, important bank officers, as this Catholic Cathedral St. Paul, and the entire boulevard was constructed upon the image of the Boulevard Champs-Élysées in Paris. It ends on a small square where is the Arc of al-Bhar, also known as the Sea Gate, from where I headed to the heart of the capital, the Medina or the Old Town of Tunis, and I have to take the Kasbah Street, which should be the most representative one for the Old Town. The Medina is like stepping back in time. It's a labyrinth of narrow alleys lined with small shops selling everything from colorful fabrics and jewelry to spices and perfumes, from artisanal handmade carpets and dishes to all kinds of souvenirs. The air is filled with a mix of sounds, smells, at times even heavy, and voices that create a rhythm of daily life that hasn't changed much for centuries. There's plenty of tiny passages going on the sides, other narrow alleys, and plenty of people everywhere. The street I took led me to this mosque, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Al-Habib, one of the many historical mosques in the Medina. I couldn't enter, of course, but from the outside it seems to be a big one.
So that was the old city of Tunis, and as you could see, it is very crowded. All the streets are very narrow, and we were warned to not turn left or right because we could easily lose ourselves.
Time to get back. Walking along this crowded street, I felt how this quarter is not just a tourist attraction, but a living city within a city, keeping piece of the past of these lands.
Finally, out from the crowded, narrow streets of the old town, where it's very difficult to talk to the camera when there are so many people all around you and every merchant tries to sell you something. I could say that the center of Tunis looks very modern and very good. Everything has an end, so we have to return back to the bus. So that was it. Back to the hotel. In conclusion, I'm a little bit disappointed that there was nothing left from Carthage, and I liked the most Sidi Bou Said, the blue town where I could walk for hours, but we hadn't enough time. That's the con to be with a group, while the good part is that you have a guide who tells you plenty of things about the places you are visiting, and you are learning. At least it is interesting for me to learn as much as possible things about where I'm going and about the places where I'm going. But yes, you have to hurry from place to place a little bit more than if you were by yourself. So anyway, I'm Philip, and I'll see you in the next video.